Hi, I'm Sam, I'm from GamesRadar, and we're here in Paris to see the Nintendo Switch 2. We've played the launch games, we've touched all of the buttons, we've played with the Joy-Cons, and we're here to give you our first impressions of Nintendo's brand new console. That is out June 5th.
Hello, James here from GamesRadar, who tagged along with Sam to see the Nintendo Switch 2. Sam, hardware announced, games, all that kind of good stuff. Tell me, what is the console like?
So the TLDR is bigger screen. It's a 1080p screen on the handheld, 4K when docked for supported games, and it really is a pretty console. It's the same thinness as the original Switch, but a much wider console, much bigger screen, and overall it feels like a much more adult, refined console than the original one. Would you agree, James?
It's not your granddad's Switch, is what we're basically saying.
I feel like the colour scheme, like the sort of soft touch matte black finish with the kind of understated original Joy-Con colours that are kind of woven into the insides of the Joy-Con, really make this feel like this is a Switch 2. It's a much more kind of honed, refined design, and everything we've played today feels like kind of where we hoped the Switch would be maybe 3-4 years ago in terms of graphics, the overall kind of immersion and density of the games almost. And this is, it's a pretty strong launch lineup in terms of Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Bonanza. It's all about bananas because he's a big monkey. Ape, sorry. That's dissing gorillas around the world. And then you've got a whole host of Nintendo Switch edition games like Cyberpunk, the original Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and games like that where you can either buy them as Switch 2 editions or upgrade the original version, particularly for those older games, right?
And the same with Mario Party Jamboree. And we don't have all the details on that. I'm wondering if it's going to be like you pay sort of a DLC price for it, because they said you pay the upgrade, like you said. They mentioned sound was better, which is interesting with 3D audio, even if you're not using 3D speakers. But if I'm right, LCD screen.
Yes, it's an interesting one because you would think after the success of the Nintendo Switch OLED with its OLED screen, as the name suggests, that they would continue that tradition with this Switch 2, but actually they've gone for an LCD display but with HDR, which to me has always been the biggest differentiator when it comes to display tech. Like, you really feel the depths of the blacks and like the color contrast between all the colors. I mean, that's a terrible way of putting that, but that's what HDR does, right? It's about the richness of the colors, and actually you don't really notice the lack of OLED. But again, like we've played about 4 hours of this today across all of the launch games, or the majority of the launch games, and it's hard to tell, until you're like moving through different spaces and using it in different areas, like what the reduction of OLED is going to have. But because it's a bigger screen with a higher resolution and the HDR, it is a beautiful display. And the dock as well has had a massive improvement. It's got a fan built into the back to ensure strong performance, especially because we're now ramping up to 4K. It's a much chunkier design, but from the front it still looks very svelte.
They also have added an extra USB-C port, which on the top, so you can finally actually, that's on the console, not on the dock, but you can finally charge it quite comfortably.
And also it's for the new Nintendo Switch 2 camera, which Nintendo is catching up to the time of the streamers, and it's launching for around £50, $50, which is pretty chunky.
The time of the streamers is my favourite.
The streamers, yeah, that's where we are. And we got to talk about the new C button, right? The thing that Nintendo has been teasing for months, and it actually is just C for chat. Now, while that's all well and good, you can join. So far we've seen up to 4 other people. You can share your screen with other people. It looked a little bit ropey in terms of the frame rate that you get unless you made their screen your kind of main view. You can just do video chat. You can do video chat with if you've got the camera. You can just do audio chat. But there's a big issue in the chat functionality is locked away behind Nintendo Switch Online payment.
It's physical DLC. It's a physical bit of the controller that does not work. C for cash, really.
Yeah, I would love to know like what happens if you press the C button and you don't have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription.
You
just get a like access denied.
You just get Bowser laughing at you.
It does seem like an odd thing to tease and then lock away behind a paywall. So we'll see how, especially when games like Fortnite, as you rightly said earlier, James, allow you to play online without the subscription, and then. But if you wanted to play online in Fortnite, you could do that, but you couldn't then chat to your friends because you didn't have an online subscription. So it seems bizarre to me.
I agree. There's too many games to talk about. That's just true of everything, including the Nintendo Switch 2. I went on with a couple of them, but I want to ask you specifically, of the games you played today, which ones excited you the most? And I know one of them was Metroid Prime 4 because of the hardware.
Yeah, so one of the big selling points of the new console, at least from Nintendo's perspective, is the ability to use the Joy-Cons as a mouse. So you can flip either of them over, depending on whether you're left-hand or right-hand, and actually some use both Joy-Cons at once in a kind of like sliding motion together. I was very skeptical about the idea of using a Joy-Con as a mouse because it's pretty skinny, quite long. Like, and I've got big man hands as a woman, which is it's a struggle sometimes, right? And but actually, it was Metroid Prime 4 that really sold me on it. Not only does the game look incredible on Switch 2, it allows you to kind of seamlessly move from holding the two Joy-Cons in each hand and then flipping one over to then turn it into the mouse and use that as your camera and aiming and firing, and then you can turn it back over to use the motion controls to shoot at doors. And I thought it was going to be like a real brain scratcher where my brain was going, okay, now we have to go into mouse mode, and now we have to go into motion control mode, and now I have to go into Joy-Con mode. And actually, it was really seamless, and it worked really well. We were just playing it at a table with a generic mouse mat, and it all worked really, really well, to the point where I actually might be a convert on Joy-Con mouse functionality.
It was an interesting point you mentioned as well, when you first used it and it was awkward, and then it became intuitive so fast. And I think a lot of people are going to have the similar thing, where they first pick it up and go, ugh, and then after a few minutes, I don't want to describe the face I made when I made that noise, but I saw it click for you, because I was just filming Sam all day, hence the footage on the screen. And it was interesting how you went from I'm not sure to playing Metroid flawlessly, which is great. And Metroid looked really good. I'm excited by that. There's a big game we'll talk about in a minute. I did try The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. It's the GameCube version. I have thoughts. We'll talk about it another time. It's just nice it's finally there. It may not be the peak physical form, but it's there, it's real, and I played it myself, and it was great. But
we'll add that the GameCube games are a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive part of the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack experience.
And I think if you have membership, you can get access to the GameCube pad they're releasing, or something like that. I'll double check if that's true. I might have made it up.
No, it's true, yeah. It's exclusive for Nintendo Switch Online members, and it comes with the aforementioned C button, which I assume you will have access to because you've paid to get the controller. So
it's important that we talk about Mario Kart World. We played it, the two of us together on the same console, which was great, really fun. And then we played the 24-player mode
and Grand Prix as well. So yeah, I feel like we've had a really good slice of that today, and start off by saying it's utterly stunning, really immersive. What's really interesting about the Grand Prix mode is that you're not just going around the same track over and over again. Each lap is a kind of new experience as you move from one track to the other, with a kind of open world in between. It's definitely going to have a kind of Forza Horizon vibe in that it's like a kind of open world experience with the races built into it. But then there's the marathon mode, I think it's called, where you are one of 24 other players. You are racing against the clock to be at the cut-off point battle royale style before you get kicked out of the race. I think it starts at 24 to 18 to 16 to 4 to whatever, and it's hard. You could tell the people that had been playing it all day because they already had found the shortcuts, and it's there is no room for error in this mode because you got to be good or you're literally out. We've probably got to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Is that how you're saying it? Yeah. Bonanza. Bonanza. I feel like it's a game that I need more time with. We had about 15 minutes of the demo. It's all about kind of destructible terrain, looking for these kind of giant crystal bananas and really satiating Donkey Kong's thirst for banana juice. But I feel like it's going to be a really good game when you come home after a stressful day at work and you just want to smash some stuff. But the terrain manipulation is pretty extensive to the point where I think you could kind of get trapped in the world a bit. The camera angles are a bit weird, but like it's a really interesting idea. It very much feels like Super Mario Odyssey, a little bit of Astro Bot, and yeah, I think it could be really exciting, but I think I just need a little bit more time with it to like really flesh out my thoughts on it so far. Like, what do you think?
I described it as anger management Odyssey, because it really was just like, you can just break anything. It looked beautiful. The Astrobot vibe was very much there to me as well. If you were to pick a highlight of the day,
I think it's got to be Mario Kart. I'm torn between just the sheer impressiveness and how much we both enjoyed Mario Kart, but also like how impressed I was with the mouse functionality. Like, I was really, really skeptical going in, and by the end of the day, 4 hours at this event, I'm kind of converted and excited to see what else they do with it. What about you, James? What's been your highlight of the day?
The highlights of the day for me probably was the announcement of a new From Software game coming to it, because basically I've wanted something new from them since Elden Ring. I like it when you do new stuff instead of sequels. That was not here to play today, but it's nice to have that. I was really happy about Yakuza 0, obviously. I was really impressed that Cyberpunk was running on it. It's not the finished version, but we did see it in action. That was cool. It feels like Nintendo have achieved something big with this.
Yeah, I'm seriously impressed. It's a really great feeling console. Like, we mostly played it. I mean, we haven't even talked about like detaching the controllers and like how strong the magnets are and how that all works. But this is a really impressive console, and I think and it's pretty reasonable in terms of pricing. $400, £400 ish. With including Mario Kart World or without it. It's an affordable price point for a pretty impressive console, especially in a market where it's competing against Steam Deck and what Asus has to offer. Yeah, I'm really excited to see more.
Is there anything else I should know before I go?
Only that the console launches on June 5th. We've got loads more information to come before then, so yeah, stay tuned for more at GamesRadar. I'm stealing your line. Stealing your line! That's not a phrase, I'm stealing your line.
Goodbye, everybody. You take care. Stay tuned for more of the latest Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, including our series Switch On, where the wonderful Hal and our team talks everything from news to talking points to the best, most interesting things about Nintendo's upcoming handheld hybrid hero. That's alliteration for you. Love you, bye.